Hello all, this is Lizzie and today we will see parameters and arguments in functions. So there are many different ways in which we can pass arguments to a function and we will see those. So just for a quick recap, the values that we pass during function call, it is known as arguments, and the variables mentioned in the function definition, they are known as the parameters. And as you have seen, by default these arguments will be assigned to the parameters in the order they are supplied. So such kind of arguments are known as positional arguments. So if you see here, there is a function defined over here which is named student. It is having four parameters, that is name, age, grade and section. And I am calling that function over here with the values Sony, 17, 12 and B. So what happens, this Sony, the first argument will be assigned to the first parameter. Second argument, that is 17, will be assigned to the second parameter. This 12 will be assigned to grade and B will be assigned to session. Let us just execute this and see. So we got as name Sony, age 17, like this. So the order in which the arguments appear, it determines how these arguments as assigned are assigned to the parameters, and that is why they are known as positional arguments. Now let us just change the order of these arguments and see how it will affect. So I have given age first and then I am giving name. Okay. So let me execute it. If you see name got assigned as 17. That is what happened is here Sony got assigned to age, 17 got assigned to name. So when we are printing name, we got it as 17 and age we got it as Sony. So that is why we mention, means it is mentioned that in case of positional arguments, the order in which we pass the arguments, it matters a lot. So now coming to, there are other ways in which we can avoid passing arguments in the specific order. Okay, they are known as keyword arguments. In case of keyword arguments, the thing is here the function remains the same. Okay, the function remains the same. What happens is while calling the function, we can specify the parameter name and the value. So we can specify it as a key value pair. So here we are specifying name as Sony. This is happening in the function call itself. Okay, so we are specifying the name, parameter name, and then the value, parameter name, then the value, and then we are calling the function. So then we get the output. Okay, so this the way in which we specify the parameter name followed by its value in a key value pair, then it is known as keyword arguments. But there are many things we need to take care in case of keyword arguments also. Make sure the argument name and the parameter name are same. See, while passing here we are mentioning the name keyword for the argument, right? So this has to be same as the one we have mentioned here in the parameter name. Okay, otherwise it will throw an error. Another thing is keyword argument should always come after the positional arguments. Okay, so if we are specifying some positional arguments, those positional arguments should come first followed by the keyword arguments. Okay, and we cannot specify values for an argument more than once. I'll show all this using an example. So here if you see, here Sony means there is no keyword attached to it, right? So we are passing this as a positional argument and it is followed by the keyword argument. So when I execute it, I get the expected answer. So what happens is it will assign the first value, first argument to the parameter name. Then it finds that okay, we are passing it as keywords. Then it will take this take the values from these keywords. Okay, that's what happens. So always a positional argument should be before the keyword argument. Okay, so if I execute this, if you see this, I have the keyword arguments follow, and then I am giving 17. I am expecting this 17 to be assigned to age, Sony to name, and 17 to be assigned to the assigned appropriately. But I am getting an error because it is not able to determine which position parameter has to be used to assign this value. So always the positional arguments has to be in the correct order, and then only we should be mentioning the keyword arguments. Okay, So here you can see I have mentioned two positional arguments and then followed by keyword arguments. So this will work. So what happens is Sony will be assigned to name, 17 will be assigned to age, then followed by the keyword arguments that is been mentioned here. So when we are mentioning the keyword arguments, it doesn't matter how we are specifying the order. This order doesn't matter. It can be in any way. Okay. And now if you see over here, okay, here I am expecting Sony to be assigned to name, 17 to be assigned to age. And followed that I am giving specifying three keyword arguments. Okay, in the keyword arguments also I am specifying age. But this will throw an error because age is being assigned twice. Okay, so we should not be specifying multiple values for the parameters. Okay, it has to be only once. So either we specify it using positional arguments or we specify it using keyword arguments. Now, suppose there is some parameter in the function for which we need not take input from the user always. Okay, so if they so such parameters we can mention as default parameters. So if you see over here, student, name, age, grade. For these three parameters, we are expecting an input from the user, but section I am assigning a default value to it. So in the function definition itself, I am assigning a default value to the parameter section. So what happens is if an user passes a value for section, it is well and good, it will take that value. In other case, it will take this default value A for session. Okay, so a parameter having default value in function header is known as default parameter. It is optional to supply value for default parameter through function call. We need not pass default value. We need not pass value for a default parameter. If it is passed, it will take that. But there is one condition: non-default parameter cannot follow default parameter. So all the default parameters should come to the right, and the non-default parameter should be on the left of it. Okay, so if you have the default parameters towards the left, it will throw an error. We'll see all this with an example. So here we have the function here and the section is default, by default A. So here if you see in the function call, I am giving only three arguments. Okay, so three arguments means it will assign Sony to name, 17 to age, and 12 to grade, and by default section is A. So let us see whether it works. Yes, it works. It doesn't throw an error. But here in the second function call over here, I am passing four arguments. Okay, so all the initial values will be assigned as before, and for another argument, last argument also I am specifying, that is C. So section, the value of section I am specifying over here. So instead of A, it will take this C that is specified by the user. If the value is not mentioned, then only the default value will be taken. We can mention default value for two or more parameters also. Here I am specifying default value for section and grade. Okay, so in that case the order doesn't matter. Okay, here we are mentioning it in the parameter itself. Sorry, here we are mentioning it in the argument. This is keyword arguments. I am specifying the keyword arguments. By default section is given as A over there, but I am specifying a keyword argument and I am mentioning it as B. So in that case, it will overwrite the default argument, and I will take the section as B. That is supplied by the user. We can also use positional arguments followed by a keyword argument and not specify the default parameter also. That also works. It takes the grade here. And here, if you see over here what I'm doing, I'm giving the default value for age and I'm giving the default value for session. Okay, but the problem is the age is mentioned here in between, and so it throws an error. So all the non-default values, that is name and grade, should have been in the left side, and age and section should have been in the right side. Then it would have worked. So the order in which we specify the default parameters and non-default parameters matters. Okay, so here in normal case, when we pass parameters to a function, there are three ways in which we can do that, which is positional arguments, where the arguments values are supplied to parameters based on the position. Then keyword arguments, where we are specifying the name of the parameter name along with the value. Then the third one is we can specify default arguments also. In that case, the parameter default value for the parameter name is mentioned in the function header itself. Now consider the case where we don't know how many how many values we have to pass to the function beforehand. Okay, but still we need to use the function. Okay, in that case we can go for arbitrary arguments. Okay, arbitrary arguments are mentioned using arbitrary parameters are mentioned using an asterisk symbol followed by the parameter name. In the usual name, it is in the usual case wherever we use the arbitrary parameters, we use a star args, but it need not be the same. It can be anything. It can be any parameter name, but only thing is that there should be an asterisk symbol before the parameter name. So if you see over here, I have a function student and the parameter is star args. Okay, then I am passing few names over here. So what is happening? The entire name is passed to the function and this args will take it as a tuple. So when we print the args, we will get it as a tuple. So number of arguments we pass to the function in this case doesn't matter. Whatever in number of arguments we pass to the function, it will be taken as a tuple in the function and we can manipulate it as a tuple. So if you see over here, I have modified the student function again. I have kept it as star name. So as I told, it is not mandatory to give it as star args. It can be star names also. So star names, then I am printing the names, then I am iterating through it one by one. Okay, so since it is a tuple, we can manipulate it in any way we want. So see, it mentioned the tuple whatever you have mentioned and it is printing the names one by one. So here again I am passing there I was passing four values to the function. Here I am passing more than 4 values to the function. Here still it behaves the same and there is no change in the number of lines of code or the number of parameters to the parameters of the function. Now we can use this arbitrary argument along with other parameters also. Here if you see, I have used the arbitrary argument, then I have used the positional argument age, then I have used the um, default parameters over here. Okay, so I am running this and running this code. Okay, so what is happening is here age I am specifying as a keyword argument. So it knows that whatever value is coming for this keyword argument age, it has to be assigned to 17. Rest all the things it is assigning to the arbitrary argument, that is names. So that is what happened over here, and here I am taking only the first in the first position first value in the names and I am printing it. So that's why it is taking instrument over there. Okay, now coming to this example, had I been considering this age as a positional argument and I am passing a value over here, okay, will this work or not? We'll see. No, it is not working. Okay, because this 17, it is unable to identify that this 17 has to be assigned to this positional parameter age. Okay, so that is why it is creating an issue. So to overcome that, what you can do is you can put age positional parameter before the arbitrary argument, then you can give the arbitrary argument followed by the default values whatever it is. Okay, so if you do like this, then if you run this, the 17 will be assigned to age, then rest of the things will be assigned to the arbitrary argument. So like this it will work. So what the things that we have to take care here is keyword arguments can be specified before or after arbitrary arguments. There is no problem with it. Okay, so if we have an arbitrary argument, we can specify the keyword arguments before this also or after this also. That's not an issue. But if there is any positional arguments, then it has to be specified before the arbitrary arguments. Okay, now so that is about arbitrary number of arguments. Now coming, if suppose we have an arbitrary number of keyword arguments, how we can do that? Before that we can use this thing, that is we have to specify double asterisk over there and we can use it in the parameter. So when we specify it as double asterisk over there, it will take it as a dictionary. A dictionary is having a key value pair, right? And then we can use it. So if you see this example, student, I am taking a asterisk and kwargs. This is the normal notation in which we takes the keyword, the arbitrary number of keyword arguments, but again it can be any name, any parameter name over there. So just show this. Here we are taking it as double asterisk asterisk kwargs. Then we are printing it. Then what we are doing, it is coming as a dictionary. So we are taking each one of it and we are printing the values. Let us see. I'm calling the function over here with keyword arguments. Okay, so the keyword arguments, I have mentioned 4 keyword arguments over here, but here I am just using this thing. Okay, I am not mentioning the parameters separately. So let us just execute this. See, so all the keyword arguments, these keyword arguments, whatever we are passing is assigned as a dictionary to this parameter name. So that's why we got a dictionary over here when we printed it. Okay, now to access anything in the dictionary, how we can access? We can access it using its keys, right? So that is what we are doing over here. Here, this name, we are taking the key name and then we are getting its value, and that is how we are printing this over here. Okay, now again we can have positional argument before the keyword argument. So here what we are having, taking the name as a positional argument but all others as keyword argument. So here we are just using the positional variable parameter name, and here in the code we are passing the name as it is and the others as keyword arguments. So let us just execute this and see. Yes, we got the same output, but the difference is that the keyword argument dictionary, it changed. There is no name over there because name we passed it as a positional argument over here. See, it is just a positional argument. Here we are having the parameter name, and in the function call we are passing it as a positional argument. Okay, now coming here, we can see if we execute this. Here if you see, I'm taking a positional argument over here followed by an arbitrary number of keyword arguments, and then a default value. I'm specifying a default value over here, so it will throw an error. So whatever things that we need to specify, default value or keyword arguments, everything has to come before this arbitrary number of keyword arguments. Okay, so I am keep here, I am having it the same thing. So I am specifying the positional argument followed by the default argument and then the keyword arguments. So this works. So I am passing Sony, then the section as keyword, then again age as keyword, and then grade. So I'm running this, I'm getting the output. Here one thing you have to notice here is age is specified as a default value over here, and here also I'm passing it as a keyword value. Okay, so the age got overwritten over here, it is got overwritten, and 17 age, instead of 17 it became 18, and the rest of the things, section B and section grade, okay, that is taken into the keyword argument, arbitrary number of keyword arguments. So that is taken as a dictionary. The rest two, name and age, is taken as a normal parameters. Okay, so that's why how we got the result like this. And here again we can specify the arbitrary number of arguments. Okay, list arguments over here along with the keyword arguments also. So I am specifying it over here. I am passing this name and age as arbitrary number of normal arguments, and so I'll be getting it as details 0 and 1. It will be assigned in index 0 and index 1, right? Because we'll be getting it as a tuple, and the rest of the things I'm passing as keyword arguments, and I'll be getting it in a dictionary. So once I execute it, so these two things came in a dictionary and the rest got assigned as it is. So the things that we need to take care over here is positional argument should be before keyword argument. Default argument should be before all the arguments, extra arguments that we specify before the arbitrary number of keyword arguments, it should be before that. Then arbitrary list argument should also be before the keyword arguments. So these are the different ways in which we can pass arguments to a function, or how we can specify parameters in a function. We can have positional arguments, we can have keyword arguments, we can have default arguments, we can have arbitrary number of normal arguments. We can specify it using a star symbol, asterisk symbol before the parameter name. Then whatever parameters we pass from the function call, it will be taken as, we will be getting it as a tuple in the function. And if you want to pass some key value pair to the function, and that too we are not sure about the number of key value pair that we need to pass, then we can go for star star and the parameter name, or it can be asterisk asterisk parameter name, and then we'll be getting it as a dictionary in the function. So there are many ways in which we can pass the values to a function, we can use whatever suits us. That's all for today. Thank you.